Okay, so today on the show, we've got this really quite startling story coming out of Maine. Thousands of Mainers, apparently, are falling victim to what's being called a fraudulent Mainecare scheme.
Uh-huh.
We're talking unpaid, delinquent debt showing up on credit reports, sometimes years after they used a Mainecare card for services.
Right, and the sources we've got from listeners point to some alleged dirty tricks being used. It sounds, frankly, a bit unbelievable.
It really does. So we're going to try and unpack what these sources are actually claiming is happening and, why you should probably pay attention to this.
Definitely worth looking into. The idea that just using a state healthcare card could boomerang back as debt years down the line is, well, it's concerning, to say the least. We need to carefully go through what the information actually says.
Okay, let's start with the main care situation itself. So the basic claim, the core accusation from our sources is this. People use their main care benefits, right? They go get medical help.
Standard procedure.
Exactly. And then years pass, maybe 3, 4, 5 years, and then seemingly out of nowhere, they discovered delinquent debt tied to those exact services on their credit reports.
And what's really striking about these claims is the part where they say they never got a bill. Like no letters, no phone calls, no collection attempts before it hits the credit report.
Nothing, just silence, then boom, bad credit.
It's like the debt just materialized out of thin air.
Yeah.
And the scale they're talking about.
Yeah.
Thousands of people.
Yeah.
That's quite alarming if it's accurate.
Alarming. It's crazy. Can you imagine, like, if a big private insurer, say, Blue Cross did this, you use your insurance card, think you're covered, maybe pay a copay, and then 5 years later, debt collectors are calling, your credit's tanked, and you never even got a bill from Blue Cross saying you owed anything. People would be freaking out.
Oh, absolutely. There would be lawsuits, investigations.
Yeah.
I mean, standard practice in healthcare involves clear statements, billing cycles, collection notices if something's overdue.
Right.
The alleged absence of all that in these main care cases, as it's described in our source material, that's a huge red flag. It deviates so much from the norm.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder what's supposedly going on there. Okay, so shifting gears a bit, but sticking with these alleged dirty tricks, our sources also talk about something else involving court fines.
Ah, yes, the money order situation.
Exactly. This one also sounds pretty bad. The claim here is someone goes to court, they have to pay a fine. Maybe they don't have a bank account, so they pay with a money order.
Which is a legitimate way to pay.
Totally. They get a receipt, presumably. But then the state allegedly just waits, like 5 years.
5 years, that's a long time.
A very long time. And then they apparently send a notice saying, hey, you never paid that fine from 5 years ago.
And the timing, that 5-year wait, is critical, isn't it? Because proving you paid something 5 years ago, especially if your proof wasn't designed to last,
Yeah.
that's tough.
Exactly. And here's the kicker. According to the sources, think about it. If you have outstanding court fines, can you usually renew your driver's license?
Typically, no. Or register your vehicle. Those things are often blocked until fines are cleared.
Right. So the fact that people are apparently renewing licenses or registrations during those 5 years suggests the state must have considered the fine paid at some point, doesn't it?
It certainly creates an apparent contradiction. If the fine was truly outstanding, you'd expect other state interactions to be flagged.
It's just, it's like paying your rent in cash. The landlord scribbles a receipt on one of those cheap thermal paper slips.
Like you get at the grocery store.
Exactly. The kind that fades to blank if you leave it on your dashboard for a week. And then 5 years on, the landlord says, you owe me 5 years of back rent, knowing darn well your only proof vanished ages ago.
The sources explicitly mention that, don't they? Comparing the alleged official receipts to flimsy, fading store receipts.
They do. The accusation is that the proof of payment itself is designed to fail over that specific 5-year window. It seems intentionally inadequate.
Well, that certainly raises serious questions about record keeping, the durability of official documents, and, who bears the burden of proof years after a transaction, especially if it hits people using money orders harder.
And this is where the claims get, well, really unpleasant.
Yeah.
The sources suggest Maine isn't doing this randomly. They allege the state specifically targets certain groups.
Who are they claiming is being targeted?
The sources use some pretty harsh language. Poor, weak, or disabled suckers, or just poor people. The alleged logic behind it is just awful.
What's the supposed reasoning?
That the state figures these individuals won't have the money for lawyers, or the organizational skills maybe, to keep perfect records for 5 years, or the ability to effectively fight back.
So the allegation is essentially preying on perceived vulnerability. targeting people precisely because they're less likely to be able to challenge the state.
That's the assertion. It's a really cynical view. Like the state is thinking, who cares about their credit score anyway? It's not like they're buying a yacht. It's...
Yeah. If true, that suggests a fundamental breakdown in fairness and equal treatment. The state versus an individual is already an uneven playing field, but targeting based on perceived weakness is deeply troubling.
Which leads right into the bluntest accusation in these materials we've reviewed.
That this isn't just mistakes or inefficiencies.
No. The claim is that Maine is doing this stuff, the surprise Mainecare debt, the disappearing fine receipts intentionally, that it's, and this is the quote, blatant fraud.
Blatant fraud. To save money, presumably?
That's the alleged motive. Cutting costs or generating revenue, maybe, by essentially tricking people out of money or ruining their credit based on these tactics.
And again, just to be absolutely clear for you listening, we are presenting these as the claims laid out in the source materials provided to us. We're dissecting the narrative that's being put forward.
Right. It's important to understand these are serious allegations from the sources.
Absolutely.
So to kind of wrap up what we've looked at today, it's a disturbing picture painted by these sources. You've got potentially thousands facing surprise, life-altering debt from using Mainecare years ago with zero warning.
And then this separate but similarly structured claim about court fines paid with money orders, where the proof allegedly vanishes just before the state demands payment again years later.
And woven through both is this really nasty accusation that it's not random, that the state might be deliberately targeting vulnerable people who they think can't fight back.
All under the umbrella claim that this is intentional, perhaps even fraudulent behavior by the state, possibly to save money.
It raises some pretty fundamental questions, doesn't it, about how a state treats its citizens, especially those who might need its help the most.
It certainly does. Significant questions about accountability, fairness, and the systems meant to support people.
Thanks for tuning into the Despicable Maine Deep Dive podcast. Remember, the United States has been hijacked, so soon living in the United States will be theft of your life.